Shalom, Yasharala. This is your brother Dawadah, coming back at you. This is truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation, much love for you. I can push in this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here article, which is, dealing with this here Space Force that they're, trying to push right here at this here point in time, Also going into prophecy, man, because we know, again, measuring the time diligently, all right, of watching these prophecies and everything and how they're all coming together, for the final product, It's more or less like a house. If you've ever seen a house getting built, you have the people that come out and they clear the lot. You have the people that go out and lay the foundations, the pipes, the water pipes, gas pipes, electrical lines, and everything like that. They build the house up, all right, then they frame the inside of the house, all right, then they start putting up the walls and everything like that. You have roofers come in, all right, plumbers come in, electricians come in. You have different contractors that's coming together to create one big house. But, pretty much once you see the house is almost complete, you know that what? You're about to have a finished product, all right? And this is how we're able to watch the prophecies, all right? Measure the time diligently to know that we're at the end all be all, because we see what? Pretty much a finished product of this here house being built, man. It's not just an empty lot no more, all right? It's not just a foundation being laid, all right, or walls being put up. All right, they've already painted the outside of the house and started moving in appliances into the house, man. All right, so you know that this house is pretty much complete. All right, but I'm gonna read a little bit of this here article and I'm gonna play this here. Let me play this here video first because going into these things, you have some people that are speaking about this here Space Force as if it's something kind of new, but in reality, this thing is going back, actually further than this here video I'm about to show you. All right, now before Ronald Reagan is talking about same thing Trump did. But talking about creating this here Space Force, which they called at that point in time with Ronald Reagan, the Star Wars program, all right? And before that, they called it SDI, the Space Defense Initiative, all right? And now, under Donald Trump, they're calling it, what, the Space Force, all right? And on layman's terms, they'll be like, oh, well, we have to have war in space, but not a war like you're talking about. If they have these satellites up or whatever, whatnot, they can make it convincible or whatever. It was like, well, GPS works off of satellites. If we just knock out the satellites, then we can knock out their communications. True enough, but we know what the ultimate agenda is, man. We know that they're developing these space weapons, these AI technology, robots and shit like that. All right, laser weapons and things like that. All right, to prepare to fight against the Lord. All right, so we're gonna listen to this here video real quick. All right, and what he's gonna touch on, he's basically telling you, how they say, I forgot how they word it, but how like comedians will sometimes tell you jokes in a joking manner, but they're telling you the 100% truth. All right, so listen to this.
One point in our discussions privately with General Secretary Gorbachev, when you stop to think that we're all God's children wherever we may live in the world, I couldn't help but say to him, just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species from another planet outside in the universe. We'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries, and we would find out once and for all that we really are all human beings here on this earth together. Well, I don't suppose we can wait for some alien race to come down and threaten us, but I think that between us, we can bring about that realization. In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need...
And we're going to grab it in the scriptures, but nevertheless, this is all going to take place, like they, people will, openly say, about like World War III being the last final war or whatever, whatnot. But ultimately, there's going to be a war after World War III, all right, in the midst of World War III, all right, because like the scriptures say, they're going to be pretty much fighting one another. They're going to stop fighting one another to fight against the Lord and the angels, man. All right, and this is pretty much what they're going to. Like, they're going to be having their differences or whatever, whatnot, in the midst of World War III. All right, and in the midst of World War III, once they start launching these missiles off, all right, that's when the Lord is going to send those chariots back, man. All right.
Some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
in reality, what is that alien threat that's outside this here world? All right, you have to understand a lot of these terms basically off their real definitions, not off the definitions that they program into your mind. All right, because they'll tell you that an alien is some green or gray like space creature or whatever, whatnot. But in reality, you call quote unquote how they say illegal aliens, right? When you talk about people that aren't citizens of a certain country and they come into the country illegally, you call them what? Illegal aliens, or you could be alienated from something, meaning separated from something. All right. Well, how their worlds is different. Whose world? This world is the world of Esau. All right. But nevertheless, let's continue on. It's only a little left.
And yet I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war? I think maybe I'd answer.
Now, again, you have to read between the lines with those things, because this is an Edomite, right? That's talking about what's alien about there's an alien already among us, which is war and everything like that. But you have to understand the characteristics of Esau. His blessing was a damn sword. He was going to live by the sword. So if there's anybody, a warmonger that's on the earth right now, it's Esau Edom. He's the only one that's going around invading all these other countries and subduing all these other countries like that, man. All right. So what do they mean by being war being foreign unto them? All right. They're not used to somebody else dominating their ass and putting their ass into subjection, man. All right. So now they trying to make their preparations ready, man. All right. Just like you see these other nations or whatever, whatnot, in comparison to America or like Iran in comparison to Israel, when they're trying to create their own defenses to defend themselves against the offender, the oppressor. Esau be getting his pennies all in the butt. Like, no, y'all can't create this, y'all can't create that. Because, see, he's not used to nobody really openly challenging his ass like that. He's always used to just basically dominating on top of somebody who can't really defend themselves.
Answer it this way. I keep, in my frustration sometimes, actually, if you count some of the things going on in smaller countries and all, there have been about 114 wars since World War II. But I've often wondered, what if all of us in
114 wars. I guarantee you Esau was involved in every last one of those wars, man. If not, was the propagator of every last one of those wars, man.
The world discovered that we were threatened by a power from outer space, from another planet. Wouldn't we all of a sudden find that we didn't have any differences between us at all? We were all human beings, citizens of the world.
Hey, when justice is about to come out, now he want to sit there and try to seek to please the poor, man. Now he want to get, we sorry. After you done dominated and oppressed the whole damn earth, and somebody finna come and block you with judgment, now you want to be sorry, man. A person or a child is not sorry once they get in their damn judgment, man. If they were sorry, they wouldn't have did whatever they was doing. Like, you see your child or whatever, whatnot, you tell them, hey, don't go in there and eat them cookies or whatever, whatnot. And they go in there and make a whole big old mess and eating all the cookies and everything like that. Now, if they don't get caught, they're not going to be like, I'm sorry, I ate the cookies. But when you go in there, you catch them, you discipline them on it, then they're going to be like, I'm sorry, I ate the cookies. Because, wow, you didn't got caught now, man. But if you wouldn't have got caught, would you really be sorry? All right, would these people really be trying to turn down war, stop fighting each other and oppressing the whole earth if somebody wasn't coming to put their ass into subjection, man? All right?
And wouldn't we come together to fight that particular threat?
And that was pretty much it right there. Talking about how they're going to come together. Let me briefly read a couple paragraphs in this here article. It says, and this is on the U.S. Department of Defense site, It says Space Force personnel to be called Guardians, all right? Just like their so-called Guardian Angels. I forgot what movie. It might be Saving Private Ryan or something like that, where there's a scene in the movie where basically you got like ground troops or whatever, whatnot, and they under siege or whatever, whatnot, and then all of a sudden they hear this sound, you know what I'm saying? They're like, what is that? And it was like, it's the fighter jets. It's, so-and-so, the fighter jets are coming. And it was like, no, it's the Guardian Angels, because, hey, Esau ultimately knows that his sword is his blessing. All right. And one thing when you talk about war, in modern day war today, almost in modern day war today, because really now it's all going into computers and technology. But prior to the stage that we're going into right now, the thing that allows you to so-called dominate in war and win any war in the so-called modern day times of war is what? Securing air superiority. All right. Just like when you see over there in when we was America was over there bombing the hell out of Syria. Right? They was just bombing. But as soon as Russia went over there with that S-300, which creates basically a no-fly zone over there, all right, which stops any kind of incoming missiles from coming in, which stops any type of fighter jets from flying over there, all right, what did Esau say? or these Americans over here say, oh, well, shit, the ISIS fight is over. We ain't going over there no more. Because why? America's normally the one with the air superiority, man. Look at how they've been dominating over the last 20 years after September 11th in the Middle East, man. All right, they're not over there really dropping large amounts of troops on the ground over there. If anything, they only be having like 5,000 to 10,000 troops around, and a lot of these people are like, reconnaissance people, or people not really in fighting roles or whatever, whatnot. But what they do is, when you look up how many military bases there are around how many American military bases there are around the world, what they call, I believe, white sites, the ones that they would openly tell you about. They got white sites, gray sites, and black sites. All right. But nevertheless, if you go and you look up how many military bases does the U.S. military have around the earth, then you look up how many military bases NATO has around the earth, because we know that, that's basically the beast that the horde's riding on. In America is what? The horde is controlling their beast. All right. So when you can combine these damn two numbers together, like one number is like 800 or 900 bases. The other one is like 700 or 800 bases, man. All right. So what? America has the most bases basically around the whole globe that's outside of America. We're not even talking about the American military bases that's inside of America. We're just talking about the ones that's overseas. All right. But nevertheless, like I said, after September 11th, they've been fighting over there in the Middle East the whole damn time and everything like that. But they're not flying planes from over here in America all the way to hell over there to go bomb some shit and come all the way back, man. All right. No, they use the planes that's already over there, like in Germany and things like that. Like a lot of those bombing raids was conducted out of Germany, man. All right. They would just, take off from those bases over there. Same with like Japan and everything like that, man. All right. So, hey, they use what? Air superiority for these things, man. But ultimately, this is, these are their so-called guardian angels that guard them from up above. All right. So let's read a little bit of this article. It says soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, and guardians. That's the lineup for personnel in the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, and America's newest armed force service, the U.S. Space Force. Vice President Mike Pence announced that personnel in the Space Force will be called guardians. All right. He spoke during a White House event marking the first anniversary for the U.S. Space Force yesterday. And it's my honor on behalf of the President of the United States to announce that henceforth the men and women of the United States Space Force will be known as guardians, Pence said during the ceremony. Let me, because I think it's going to repeat some stuff down here, so I just want to get to the point. Well, let me read from up here. It says, basically, it was talking about them creating the Space Force. It says he had a dual focus on, Pence and Trump talking. He had a dual focus on renewing America's leadership in human space exploration, but also ensuring America remains as dominant in space as we are in land, air, and sea. And what people don't realize is that they've been preparing and planning for the return of Yahushua and how to fight him since way the fuck back when. A lot of all the technology that you see right now is basically for what? The ICBM thermonuclear missiles. Just like the reason that you have a goddamn smartphone, an iPhone and shit like that, that's not for your luxury and your pleasure, man. They created that thing as part of the technology they would need for these rockets, man. All right, because when you go back, they'll even tell you that your cell phone, modern day today, your regular basic smartphone nowadays has more technology in it than the damn space shuttles that went up into space. What was that called? The Avenger 1 and 2? Or whatever them damn things was that they sent those satellites they first sent up into space or whatever, whatnot, So, when you go, like the tracking devices in your phone, the cameras that's in there and so on and so forth, the imagery and everything like that all come from your phones, man. All right. But nevertheless, your phone that you have now all come from weapons, them creating these weapons and things for them first. This is why they also tell you that the military technology is somewhat 50 to 75 years ahead of the civilian population of what they get in technology, man. All right, they've been having GPS and drones and all these types of things like that. And just think about it. They've had you've known about autopilot in airplanes, all right, pretty much all your damn life. But now all of a sudden they're coming out with drones and things like that. They've been had all this technology, man. All right, they was talking about how they could have radio transmission from the astronauts in space down here on Earth, man. They've been had so-called wireless communications and internet and streaming and videos and all that stuff from way back when, man. All right, but when you go back into Wernher von Braun, all right, which is who was a German scientist, all right, who basically got taken into America after World War II, you know, America and Russia wound up splitting their scientists and their weaponry and their stockpile. This is why today, all the weaponry that we have today all come from Germany, from Hitler and their reign and everything like that, man. There's nothing really that they got in technology-wise that they didn't have, that Hitler didn't have, you know, because like you think about the drones, they had that. Hitler had the first jet-powered airplanes, the first rockets, the V1 and the V2 rocket, which that turned into what you see going up into space as the space shuttles, taking the space shuttles up into space, man. This is why conveniently after that, when Russia and America took their stockpile, you had what they called the space race, all right? But it wasn't the space race to just see who can get to space first, but they was trying to get these satellites up and everything like that to prepare for what, 5G and so on and so forth. They already knew about all these things and all the technologies that they would try to put into place, man. All right, all this is basically to fight the Lord. So let me read this. It says, but also ensuring that America remain as dominant in space as we are in land, air, and sea. It says that space is now a war-fighting domain is not questioned. Russia and China are aggressively seeking ways to cut into America's dominance in space. So they always use the boogeyman tactic. It's always somebody else's fault while America has to step up and step up, step up. And then conveniently, oh shit, there's some aliens here. We conveniently got the weapon. We might as well just go ahead and fight it. No, that was your plan the whole time, man. All right. He noted that Russia conducted yet another anti-satellite missile launch. We're leading in space, but our determination is to stay in the lead to defend America and defend our freedom from the vantage point of space, he said. And I think that was pretty much, let me read this last paragraph. It says, Space Force has to form even as the mission continues. Let me urge each and every one of you Guardians to keep pushing, Pence said. Keep pushing the vision and the mission of the United States Space Force, which is to ensure that America remains dominant in space. All right, and this is what they're trying to do. Esau's trying to maintain his kingdom and his rulership forever, man. He's not trying to lose that seat, man. All right. So we're going to jump into some scriptures real quick, not trying to make this too long. Let me start here, book of Daniel chapter, it's a lot. Not Daniel 12, Revelation 12. This is the book of, oh, wait a minute, let me see something. Nah, that ain't nothing there I was looking for. I don't know why I had that up. Revelation 12, and I believe verse 12. Revelation 12 and 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. All right. So, you know, when these Christians read about this, they compare this to what I believe Isaiah 14, talking about basically the devil was cast out or whatever, whatnot, so on and so forth. They take this as far as, the Most High and the spiritual demon Satan, they pretty much got into a fight. You know, the devil rebelled against the Most High or whatever, whatnot, and him and some angels and whatever, whatnot, which they merged in a bunch of different stories together, man. You know, there is a such thing as the fallen ones, the fallen angels. But that's basically talking about the Israelites. All right, we fell from our state. We were supposed to be ruling over top of the earth, man. But now look at us in the state that we're in right now. This is why we have to be saved and redeemed, and we're going to be put back into that state. All right, we're the angels that's locked in these chains of darknesses. Because when you go into the second covenant, the new covenant that the Most High is going to make with us, he's going to write the law, statutes, commandments on our inward part. So we're not going to ever go off. We're going to be programmed to be righteous. Just like all the other angels, they don't go off. They don't, like, for instance, you can say, the so-called, the angels on the left-hand side, which people think of as demons and the devil, they don't go off. They're more righteous than any of us, because while they follow their commandments, whatever they told to do, that's what the hell they do. They don't go off, all right? But nevertheless, we are in these chains of darkness, which are these bodies. We have, we're subject to the flesh sometimes, man. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, all right? But nevertheless, that's the story of the fallen angels. But nevertheless, there's no, this story here, they're talking about, Verse 7, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. It's not talking about, in the spiritual realm, the Most High and them fighting with the devil and, so on and so forth. That shit don't even make sense. How are you as a creator going to create something that you don't have no control over your creation with? You ain't never seen that shit no shit like that happen before, man. All right, but nevertheless, this is talking about what we was just watching the videos about what your boy name is, Ronald Reagan. I'm talking about if there was some kind of outside force, some type of alien or whatever, whatnot. This heaven that they talking about, all right, you got like 4 different heavens, all right. You have the first heaven, which is like where the birds and the airplanes fly. You have the second heaven, which is like outer space and everything like that. The third heaven, you could say, is like where the Most High dwells in the spiritual realm, all right. And the fourth heaven is basically a condition. All right, when you look at these rich ass Edomites, the Jeff Bezoses, Donald Trumps, and these niggas is in heaven. All right, just like we read about the story of Lazarus, right? With you know, that gulf between the rich man and Lazarus, you know, and he was tormented every day or whatever, whatnot. You know, hey, a lot of us brothers, we go to work with these damn Edomites that's in their heavens or whatever, whatnot. Might be at lunch table, sitting side by side with them, but this nigga's in his heaven and you in your hell. Or you working doing service for these people or whatever, whatnot. You know, you may be detailing this nigga's yacht, his boat or whatever, whatnot, and whatever, whatnot. You and him shaking hands and talking and everything like that. Y'all both in the same room, but guess what? He's in his heaven and you in your hell, man. All right. But nevertheless, it says there was war in heaven. All right. This is talking about what? Basically up in the sky. You know, there's gonna be a fight. You know, let me read. It says there was a war in heaven, and Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. All right, you got these pilots. There's pilots. Their planes and their jets and everything like that, and then they going into the Space Force or whatever. Wouldn't ain't no telling if they actually got what you would call a so quote unquote UFO. All right, now they ain't no damn crash UFO. Well, ain't no real quote unquote crash UFO in what people think of as Area 51, but it's really S4. All right. Because the angels, they don't crash, man. We can read about that all day long in the book of Ezekiel chapter 1. They're not going to crash, man. You're not going to hijack one of their planes, man. So, but nevertheless, you know, they may develop some type of space weapon or a spacecraft or something like that. But, hey, this is what the end-all, be-all plan is going to be, man. You heard Ronald Reagan talking about it. You see Donald Trump forward in this here situation and everything like that, man. All for what? To fight the Lord when he comes back, man. All right, and this is also what he's trying to do with this mark of the beast, man. He's trying to disconnect the very elect from their power source, man. His mindset is what? Look, well, we already got 2/3. They ain't gonna make it anyway, right? But the Most High gonna send his son to come collect the elect, the remnant, right? But if we get rid of the remnant, they ain't got no reason to come out here to come pick them up. You know, this is his mindset, and you know, our houses, the inward parts of their house is gonna go on forever. They think, like we read in the article, that they want to maintain that dominance. All right. It says, verse 7 again, and there was war in heaven, and Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found anymore in heaven. All right, because why? This is when Esau's going to be taken out of rulership, man. All right. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent. All right, just like he was called in the garden. All right, when he was basically finessing Eve, just like he finessed Eve nowadays, you know. Oh man, just look, make sure ain't no man in the household or whatever, whatnot, and we'll give you this here money. You don't need him no way. You need to be free and independent. You don't need to be dependent on no man or whatever, whatnot. You can take care of your own self. But then wonder why the family household is all corrupt, because why? You took this man his philosophies and things like that. You bit into that apple, man, just like Eve did back in those days, you know. Oh, you don't got to listen to your husband. You ain't got to listen to your power sources. Look, listen to me, you know, just like guys who be talking to other women who got men, you know, they tell them everything's sweet and everything. Oh man, your man don't really love you if he don't want to spend X amount of dollars on this type of bag and take you on this type of vacation and do this and do that for you, whatever, whatnot, you know, just to slide up in that box. Then ultimately after that, he don't call you no more, man. All right. It says, and that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. All right. Now, who is deceiving the whole earth, man? Esau, Edom, man. Put him. He opened the books and painted painted his own likeness over our images. You know, the earth was given into his hand. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. All right. He's the one that's putting himself up as the Most High, exalting himself above everything that is called God or is worship as God, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God. All right. This is the nigga that we talking about, deceiving the whole earth. Oh, we here on a peacekeeping mission. We here on spreading peace and democracy and love. But that all comes in the form of bombs. All right. And oppression, man. This is what he doing. Oh, we want to give you this here this medical jab to cure the whole earth and to save everybody's life. But in reality, you trying to kill everybody off, man. All right. It says, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. All right. Talking about him and his military and everything else along with him, man. All right. Let me go from there to what is that? Isaiah, I think it's in Isaiah. It's Isaiah 47. Isaiah 47 and it's up higher than this actually. But nevertheless, this is a great chapter to read as well. It's talking about basically the downfall of America. Isaiah 47 and verse 3. All right. It says, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, because ultimately this is Esau's shame after all the things he's done, People have been looking at him like such a saint and everything like this for so long and upholding righteousness on the planet Earth. But guess what's been happening over the last 2-3 years, Oh, well, look at y'all with, the so-called Black Lives Matter movement that's going on globally. Everybody's starting to acknowledge all the atrocities that Esau's been doing to Jake over all these times and how he treats Jake even to the same day. All right. And also how, he's spreading smallpox and syphilis and things like that, and taking advantage of people economically and things like that, man. Putting GMOs everywhere, polluting everything, bombing all these people, man. All right, lying to the whole world that, these quote-unquote terrorists came and blew us up, and then come to find out you ain't found no terrorists, nobody nowhere around the earth, nobody that was involved with, the people you did find was your own allies, and you ain't say nothing about that. Then all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, you have all these different lies and everything, so your nakedness is being uncovered, man. All right, even your own allies are turning away from you right now, man. It says, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. All right, so hey, when Yahushua was on the scene the first time, he came what? As a man, he in a regular fleshly, how the scripture said, terrestrial body, man. That get tired, that get hungry, that get weak, so on and so forth. You could shoot it, and the body might wind up bleeding to death and dying, or if you give it a mortal wound or whatever, whatnot. Hey, but this time when Yahushua come, man, he not coming back in no terrestrial body, man. He coming back in his glorious heavenly body, man. All right, he's gonna come back with great spiritual powers, man. All right, so basically you can like shoot a nuke and hit him with a headshot with that, and he just eat that and keep it moving, man. If not, he eat that shit, spit that shit back out of your ass and hit you with it. All right, so let me read it again. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. This is what the big push for Esau with all this here AI technology is for, man. All right, or quantum computers, D-Wave computers, and things like that, man. All right, if you understand what a damn D-Wave computer is, all right, and the Palantir ball, this nigga's got some crazy ass technology, bruh. But when you think about it in a perspective, like, why would you need to use this type of shit? We as human beings, we not that smart or that fast to be able to come up with this type of shit, to be able to defend ourselves against this. Why would you even really need all these things like that, man? You know what I'm saying? Y'all police do a good enough job of chasing us down or shooting us down or whatever. Why the hell you need drone mosquitoes and shit like that? Drone dogs and drone cheetahs that can chase down a nigga at 80 miles an hour with guns on it. Why the fuck would you need some shit like that when you perfectly fine chasing us down in your squad cars and shooting us down with your damn service pistol, man? Oh, because you're not just fighting no regular people. First of all, when the Lord come back, you fighting the Lord and the chariots, all right? The Lord going to, like the scripture say, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, then he going to raise up that standard, man. All right? And that standard is going to be what? The how you say, the elect's going to basically get those spiritual powers, man. All right? So again, and hey, we read about some of these powers, man. You're going to be quick as lightning, man. All right? You know what I'm saying? Like, the Lord say, hey, all these things I've done, y'all going to do more and greater, man. So, raising the dead, all right? So, hey, when you think about these things, they need what? With their drones and everything like that. That's why it's more conventional for them to use that type of technology. You shoot down a drone, don't nobody die, all right? But you shoot down an airplane and there's a pilot in there. You can just get one drone operator to control 100 different drones. You see what I'm saying? So, hey, man, when you're dealing with immortality, they're going to be like, well, we're going to hide down here in the bunker and use our robots to control them like this, or just throw them out there autonomously and let them control themselves, man. All right. Or, you looking for things, they got these different radars and things like they got a new type of radar now that sees DNA. All right. This is why they keep talking about, they keep finding all these new animals and plants and things like that, where they can see DNA through certain things, man. All right. With this here 5G, they're able to see through walls and underground and everything like that, man. And these niggas even got what they call smart bullets, man. All right. Bullets that's able to track your ass, man. All right, they got all these type of technologies. Why do you think they have all these technologies for regular basic ass people, man? All right, when the weaponry that they got now is way more than enough to goddamn put a regular human being down, man. All right, because they're not fighting up against regular people at this point in time, and they fight up against the Lord and the elect, man, the angels, man. All right. Isaiah 47:3. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance. I will not meet thee as a man. All right. Real quick. Isaiah 66:15. For behold, Yahweh will come with fire, and his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. All right, so hey, going into this, what like we just read, the Lord's not going to come back and meet you as a man. He's coming back in that spiritual body with the chariots, man. All right, you seeing more and more videos of UFOs on the internet, you know, on YouTube, people filming it. All right, and there's way more, you know, there's more than 100 videos, 200 videos where you can take them and just get regular cell phone footage, right? And see the real people's reactions or whatever, whatnot, and compare all these different videos. And it's like pretty much you seeing the just to the same ass thing. Like if you didn't know what the hell cars was and you had cell phones and everything like this, and you go out to like a regular city or whatever, whatnot, you videotape to show somebody else these things. Yeah, you see different cars, like you see a different color cars, you see like pickup trucks, 2 doors, 4 doors, convertibles, SUVs and motorcycles, semi trucks. Yeah, you see a bunch of different type of cars and everything like that. They don't all look exactly the same, but they all pretty much look the same. They all got wheels. They all driving on the road. They all got people on the inside, you know, pretty much the same thing. You like, well, yeah, I can pretty much believe this, even though that every single car that I see ain't the same as a Ford Focus. They not all Ford Focuses, just to get the proof. So when you look at these videos, you see that, yo, there's an abundance of chariot sightings that people are catching on their cell phone videos and everything like that. Got so bad that even the government came out and released footage of them seeing what they call, what is that, unidentified flying phenomena or something like that, whatever the fuck they call them. But basically, quote unquote, UFOs, man. All right. This ain't far-fetched, man. All right. The Lord has what they call chariots, man. All right. And this word, when you go in this word chariot, it's basically transportation, man. All right. So let me go from there to, you know what, I'm going to just close out with this because I didn't went quite a bit. 2nd Ezra 13. There's something else I wanted to pair with this, but we'll just read this for time's sake. All right, because this is pretty much going into a couple different things, you know. Let me find this one verse first. So I can give me 1 second. I'm trying to find a certain verse. All right. Right here. So nevertheless, you know, like I was about to say, going into this here, what we're about to read, this is covering a lot of different things. All right. For one, hey, if you ever watched the movie Independence Day, the first one, right? This is where they get pretty much the whole premise of that whole entire movie, for one. But a lot of the scenes out of that movie, we'll read through it and I'll show you those scenes when we get there. Also, what Ronald Reagan was talking about, look, we'll see how small our differences are if we fighting one another, whatever, whatnot, if some outside alien threat come. This is going to join us all together, you know? So let me read this. This is straight out of what he was just saying, but out of the scripture, 2nd Ezra 13:33. And when all the people hear his voice, every man, 33. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. So in the midst of World War III, all right, they're going to be fighting one another. All right, just like Ronald Reagan said, you know, look, how we'll find that our differences are so small, and what we'll put those aside to band together to fight against that outside alien threat. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come and overcome him by fighting. All right, but he shall stand up on the top of Mount Zion. All right, and we'll reiterate all these things here, but I wanted to point out the fact that how Ronald Reagan was saying, look, how small our differences would be if we had some outside force came in and so-called threaten us. So then what, we'll band together and fight against that outside force. And this is exactly what they're planning to do when the Lord comes back, man. All right. 2nd Ezra 13, I'm starting at verse 1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, and it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. All right. Oh, man. Did I grab? That's all good. It's all good. We're gonna grab 20,000s, even thousands and thousands of chariots. 2 Ezra 13 and 3. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, those chariots. All right, coming back. You're gonna have a so-called alien invasion, according to them. When he turned his countenance to look, all things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, they all burned that heard the voice, like as the earth filleth when it filleth the fire. Did I skip a verse? Nope. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. All right, going back to what we just read down verse 33. All right, how they going to be fighting together with one another. All right, then all of a sudden come out to fight against the Lord. And I beheld, and lo, he had graven himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. All right, talking about this here chariot. And I would have seen the region or the place where without the hill was graven, and I could not. All right. So he's basically trying to see the ends of this here chariot, but it was so big that it took up the sky. So again, going back to the movie Independence Day, the very first one, the very first time you see one of the UFOs come out, you know, there's that scene where everybody playing basketball. It's just a continuous shot of just regular life happening. People playing basketball, cars driving, taxis, cops, people walking up down the street. And all of a sudden this here chariot comes out, which we'll get into it with the fire unfolding upon itself. All right. But like in the setting of being in New York or whatever, whatnot, this chariot coming up and over top of all these buildings, some of those people were able to look up, and from one side of the sky to the other side of the sky, all they could see was this here chariot. It took up the whole entire sky, man. All right. Verse 7, and I would have seen the region or place where without the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid and yet durst fight. You know, going into again, that Independence Day movie, there was a scene in there where, you know, if it wasn't for the actor Will Smith, which we know this is a movie, they was afraid of these things, man. They didn't know what the hell to do and how to get through these things, because while they came to it with their most sophisticated weapon, those nuclear missiles, man, they shot one off at it and realized that it had some kind of invisible defense shield up, and that shit just took that missile like it was nothing, man. And it was like, oh shit, you know, we got nuclear missiles. We thought that this was gonna be an easy cakewalk, and that shit didn't even phase it at all, man. All right. But also, let me read that again. It says, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid and yet durst fight. Once you start seeing how some of these chariots maneuver and the things that they can do, grow in size, multiply, and things like that, man, if you ever seen these things, man, it's crazy, man. I remember doing a video some years back and filming these chariots or whatever, whatnot. You know, it's about 30, 40 of them swarming all around each other. All right. You know, I was videotaping this shit for like multiple minutes on end. You know, you would see two of them fly into one another, like two would become one would become 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, so on and so forth. They would get bigger, smaller, and all kind of different things, man. All right. So just imagine, like, we ain't really used to seeing nothing like this. Our brains will flip the fuck out, man. All right. You know, you just imagine driving down the street and you see a car that's split into 2 different cars, you know what I'm saying? 3 different cars, 4 different cars. You're like, what the fuck just happened there? You know, just like how when we all started seeing the first time we seen cars with the flip-flop paint, or floaters, not spinning rims, but floaters where they pull up to the light or they take off from the light and the rims look like they still sitting still, and you had to take a double take, like, what the fuck is that? You know, this is how it's going to be when these servicemen as ace combat fighters or whatever, whatnot, they've seen everything, know everything. They the best pilots, they know how to fly and all kind of maneuvers or whatever, whatnot. And they doing a very difficult maneuver that most people can't do. You see a lot of these Russian pilots doing these things, but all of a sudden you see a chariot, you know, flying out of nowhere, come catch you from behind, you know, out of nowhere, fly directly in front of your plane and just make a straight U-turn and just go the other way, or go, you know, from a standstill to straight up in the air or straight down or whatever, whatnot. And you know, with your own science and everything, like the G-forces would have killed a regular human being that did that type of shit, man. What the fuck is in that? Or how do you just go from we flying thousands of miles an hour to all of a sudden you just like gap the shit out of my ass and just gone? Like, what the hell? What kind of speed is that? Like, yo, we got the hypersonic missiles and shit like that, and then you see this chariot fly past that shit as if it was a turtle. You be like, what the hell? I'm impressed with the hypersonic missile, but this shit made this look like it was walking. You know? They're going to see these types of things, and or a chariot get super big in front of their ass or whatever, whatnot, or go super small on their ass, turn invisible on their ass, all right? Then all of a sudden, you know, they're going to be flipping out. So what? The Lord gonna put the spirit on them to continue to fight, but also the Lord's already putting the spirit on their ass to do these, to go through these things. Again, this is why they're getting this here AI technology, man. All right, like I said, man, put yourself like initially when you look over at Russia and their what is it, the Su-57? I think it's the Su-57, that plane. Them and the XJ something that China got, right, which is comparable to what America trying to get with their F-35s. Now, the F-35 that they trying to get is supposed to be AI controlled as well, too, but they got so many flaws with that. But the other two planes, they actually are AI enabled, where they can basically have it, you know, with no pilot in the plane, and they can just fly these planes by themselves. But they still keep the pilot in the plane as far as right now, so it don't flip people the fuck out that these fighter jets aren't manned by human beings and everything like that. They don't flip out because, again, your mind ain't really used to seeing a lot of these things like that. Again, remember going back to as a kid seeing a magic show, seeing something like a bird in a cage get set on fire, and then he ain't in there no more. Somebody smashed the cage, and you like dumbfounded because I ain't never seen that type of shit before, man. All right. Continuing on. It says, verse 80, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. And lo, as I saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, all right, which is basically, you know, when you watch the movie Independence Day, when they're up on top of that high-rise building, they got all them signs up welcoming the so-called aliens or whatever, whatnot, and then that mouth of that chariot opened up at the bottom, and you seen that blue laser beam come out and incinerate everybody, and all you seen in the instance was the all was able to be perceived was dust and the smell of smoke, just like you seen on 9/11. All right, when those towers went down, man, all that concrete, all that steel and plastic, wood and metal, and paper and all that stuff, the human bodies that was in there, all of a sudden within 8 seconds, all that was turned to dust and the smell of smoke, man. Go back and watch those videos and those people running and being covered with all that dust and the smell of smoke. That's the remains of body parts, metal, steel, and concrete and all that in a matter of 8 to 10 seconds, man. All right, so this is what concentrated heat or laser weapons. They have what they call DEW weapons, direct energy weapons, all right, which is basically a high-powered laser beam that they shoot from outer space with their damn Space Force, man. All right, so what the hell you think they're going to use these things against, man? All right, but this is what the Lord is about to do. Again, this is going back into that scene in Independence Day with that blue laser, all right? And what we're about to read is basically, a laser is nothing more than concentrated heat. It says, and I only saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire out of his lips, and flaming breath out of it, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks of a tempest. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, only dust and the smell of smoke. And when I saw this, I was afraid. All right, so again, go back to 9/11 and watch when those towers was falling, and look at the looks on those people's faces, man. When they started seeing a high-rise building like that collapse, and with people in it, or that plane hit the building, or the explosion, or any of those things, man, people were in shock. They ain't never seen no shit like that, man. But imagine seeing these chariots come back, and then they start, well, shit, that movie World of Worlds with Tom Cruise, man, them chariots came about the ground and started zapping folks. But they was hitting people with such precision that it zapped their ass, turned them into dust and the smell of smoke. All right, and their clothes were still standing, but took the damn flesh from beneath the clothes, man. All right. Verse 12, and after this I saw the same man come. That was it on that part right there. Let me see. There was another one where it says it was one realm fought against the other. Yeah, but nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and close out with that. Yeah, I just want to touch in on that there, Space Force, because in a time like this where, we have all this here news coming out over the mark of the beast being put in a, being put into play or whatever, whatnot. Hey, we still have these other prophecies that have to take part, and also going into wars and rumors of wars, but also that this ultimate war when the Lord's coming back with the chariots to fight up against Esau and take him out of his power and his position. So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And citation, much love for you. I can push in this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.